So, I'm a little congested. And it's unfortunate I'm congested because this is my first video, but I felt the need to start because I feel like I'm going to always be saying you're going to start on this day or that day. Long story short, I'm jobless. I am 32, and I live at home. And I'm okay with that. And the reason that I'm okay is because I know my projection is bright. I know I'm going to go places. I know there's things that God has for me. I know what he's shown me. And I know that in time, the things that should come to pass will. And so what I want to talk about today is go afraid. Let's get into it. So when we talk about going afraid, it literally is what it sounds like. It's going in the midst of fear, in the midst of having fears, having anxiety, having whatever you feel, having adrenaline, your heart is busting out of your chest. You feel like you're going to fail. You have all these racing thoughts. You're obsessing. You know, I'm a person who have obsessive thoughts. I struggle with mental illness, having generalized anxiety disorders. And so that kind of goes hand in hand, you know, obsessive thoughts and anxiety. And some of y'all are dealing with different things. Maybe you deal with depression. I think with depression, you think about things and it makes you sad. So sometimes because you have anxiety, it makes you worry. And then the worrying makes you sad because the thoughts that you think about, you worry because things make you sad and thoughts you think about make you sad. And so here's my point. If you're waiting for a perfect time, you're going to be waiting forever. Pretty sure you can think of somebody who's successful who their story wasn't pretty. It was Jeff Bezos. He was in his garage. Just a picture of him. And I'm sure a lot of YouTubers and people have talked about this. But he has a picture up of him in a garage or something. And he has a sign up and he wrote on there Amazon. And so this man wrote Amazon on there and he started selling books online. He had a good idea. He believed in himself. And he was willing to start, from my knowledge, basically from scratch. And here's the thing. You can sit here and you can try to make everything perfect and have a perfect timing and wait and wait and wait. But time is going to just keep on going. Like tomorrow's coming. The next day is coming. The next day is coming. And then the next day. And you're still going to be sitting here talking about, oh, but I have kids. Oh, but this person is, I'm in a relationship with this person that sucks. Whatever it may be, maybe you feel like you're staying for the kids, or maybe you're in a situation where you're being pressured to be in a career you don't like, and maybe you're in a situation where you don't have a lot of money. Like me, you living at home to save money, and you're kind of starting over from scratch. Maybe you're talking about, oh, it's too late for me. My kids are adults. And I'm tired and I'm at home. Woe is me, I'm old. Like you're not old. Like you just don't want to do it because you're afraid. Here's the thing about age. I think it was like the founder of KFC. He was what, 90 something or 80 or 90 something when he started KFC. And look at KFC now. Like you sitting around waiting for the perfect timing, but you're going to be waiting forever because the perfect time is always now. And I'm not going to say there's no situation where you just literally can't do something. God gives us wisdom, right? God gives us understanding. Like we have to plan, but one of the things I was reading this book by I can't remember the guy's name. They have a website called T-shirt Magazine Online, and they were talking. One of the first things they were reading about in that plan was like, don't get stuck on the plan. Like have a plan, great, make you a plan, jot it down, but don't get stuck on the plan because you're gonna spend so much time planning. They said they spent so much time planning, or they were doing things, but they could have been doing more things. But they were spending so many times having meetings about having meetings. They could have been doing more. They might have been further by now. Or they might have, those moments where they were in those meetings, it could have been moments where they could have epiphany moments. But they were wasting so much time on planning. And so the idea of go afraid is something I heard from Joyce Meyer. If you're not a Christian, I'm the kind of person that feel like you can listen to people of all religions, all beliefs, all backgrounds. You don't want to take the time to really listen to me because you're making excuses, because you don't want to hear what anybody has to say. And there's people, if you're going to be that kind of person, you're never going to learn. And so anyway, my point is, there's a Christian evangelist by the name of Joyce Meyer. I know she's controversial. People don't like her. Some people like her. Some people do. Some people don't. I've known people that listen to her who are not Christian, because like I said, you don't have to be Christian to listen to a Christian, because they can give you wisdom. Just like I can listen to somebody that's not a Christian that can give me wisdom about business. It's the same thing. She said, going afraid, basically what she was saying is that's what courage is. It takes a lot to have courage. But what it takes more than anything else is going. You can't have courage without action. Literally, that's what it means. And why black people gotta have loud conversations? I think they calm it down. Anyway, y'all just gonna hear the noises because I live with other people. So a lot of times y'all probably gonna hear stuff in the background. The definition of courage, like if I can give you a simple definition of what courage is taking action to do what you know you need to do in the presence of danger. Like, you know you can fail, you know you can be hurt, you know what might happen. You've seen other people do it, you've seen that they have failed, but I bet you've seen people that succeeded. And so I think it's easy to look at the people that failed and say, I'm not going to do it. It's easier to do that. For some reason, we gravitate to the negative downside of us that wants to go backwards. But God, in his heavenly being, in his greatness, and his awesomeness, and his perfection as a creator, what does a creator do? They do. A creator does. Like, that's what they do. They take action. They do things. And so because God created us to do things, he created us to go. It's uncomfortable for us to just sit here and do nothing. And we say it's comfortable, but I don't see how you can be comfortable. Like, I don't see it. I don't see how you can be comfortable not doing what you've been called to do. And so, yeah, to an extent, you have comfort, but you're never fully comfortable because you're always questioning, like, what if I did it? What was to go? What if I had taken that job? What if I had went to that career that I really always wanted to be in? Or what if I had moved to that city? You don't know what is waiting for you. I'm not saying get up and go move to a city. That's not my point. Unless it's something that you believe is for you or God is telling you to do if you're a believer. I'm saying to leap. I'm literally saying to leap, because guess what? You can leap, and I promise you can fail. And in a lot of ways, you probably are. If you're waiting to have a perfect scenario where you're going to go and nothing bad is going to happen, I'm going to tell you, boo, that's not real. You're never going to be in a journey where perfect things happen. You've been in here on this earth how long? And what has been perfect? And some of us are so afraid of the unknown because of the trauma that we have, because we don't go and get the healing and the help that we need. See, that's why I had to go to therapy. We have so much trauma that we won't go afraid. But here's the thing: when you heal from your trauma, things that used to affect you, they don't affect you like they used to. Things that used to make you afraid, they don't make you afraid no more. Because you've gotten to the root and you face your demons. And a lot of us don't want to do that. And I wish I could tell you when you face your demons, it's going to be pretty. But it's probably going to be the ugliest part of your life. Because let me tell you, when I actually took the leap of faith to go there and get the help that I needed, it wasn't perfect, but it was what I needed. And it was the first step to get me to eventually get to my therapist, who I was able to tell her things that I couldn't tell anybody. And she got me to the point where I could be courageous enough to my family. When I told my family about the things I was dealing with, the things in my head, the things that was going on, the people that I was believing was my enemy were the people that had my back the most. But I wouldn't have found that out if I hadn't taken the step to go afraid. And so now I quit my job. I deliver groceries, but I know that God's going to take care of me. Because, see, here's the thing about the God that we serve. Even if you do something that you're not supposed to be doing, he promises that he will never leave you nor forsake you, and that he will take care of you. Bank on that. I'm trying to tell you, this is something I know. I was in college. I was broke. If you ever been in school, you couldn't work. I wasn't working at the time. I eventually got a job. But before I could find a job, Lord, the Lord was with me, because I remember one day I was in my apartment. I couldn't call mom till my phone was off. I couldn't talk to my roommate. My roommate was in another city. It was just me. And this is a time where I have been fasting and praying a lot. And so I'm like, God, I go in the fridge, I open it. Nothing. Open the cabinet. Nothing. So I'm literally like, what am I going to do? I don't have a job. I'm broke. I can't call anybody. I had never been through that because you don't know how blessed you are until you know how blessed you are. And so my literally before I can even panic enough, the Holy Spirit says to me, I believe it's the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit says to me, do you trust me? It wasn't an audible voice, y'all. It was just the inner voice, and I can hear it. It was like it was thoughts. It was like it was my thoughts, but I wasn't thinking them. So that's how God. I don't know if y'all ever had that experience, but that's how God talks to me. He's like, "Do you trust me?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Do you trust me?" I said, "Yes, I trust you." Literally, right after I said, "Yes, I trust you," my roommate's friend walks in. And he says, "Hey, we went to Taco Bell. We had this extra food, and we don't want it. Did you want it?" Now, some of the most negative people will say, "Oh, it was a coincidence. It just so happened that happened after you heard that voice." And I'm sorry, y'all. If you are that pessimistic, then you need to change your way of thinking, because you will close your mind off so much that you can't see how faithful God's being to you right where you at. Right where you at. And so that moment taught me, I was like, God is going to feed me. Now, there was other miracles that happened. Like I literally won. One time I won a raffle and we won groceries. Then they came to me and my roommate and was like, "You know what? We love your apartment. We would love to use your apartment, to show to some people that want to move into the student, apartments." We didn't have dorms. We had apartments, right? That was by the campus. "Y'all keep your apartment so nice that we want to give y'all a gift card to show y'all apartment." Like, y'all, can I make this up? I took a leap. I moved out of the city because I felt like this was what I was supposed to be doing. I went to school. I went to that city and I met other people that went there for the same reason. Like, God drew them there. For whatever reason, all of us were creators. We're coming together. And I feel like mostly he brought us there to show us that you're not alone. There's other believers who are in these fields. Artists, they're creators, they're designers. Like, I personally am a fashion designer. You're not the only one. I feel like he did that to show us that I am doing something. And my people have permission to fully operate in their gifts. But that was one thing he's showing. But the other thing he was showing me was that he's faithful. When you know that God is faithful, people say the universe, right? I can get that. But for me, my thing is, because I know that God is faithful and I know how he works, I'm at a point where I'm either going to take him at his word or I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing, which is wait for the perfect time. I stayed at a job for 6 years before I went to my last job. I stayed there for 6 years, had a whole mental breakdown. And I believe, I can be wrong, but I believe that part of the reason why I had that breakdown was because of that job, was because that work environment that I was in was, honestly, for me, in my opinion, it was toxic. I wasn't a perfect employee, and it wasn't a job that I should have been doing. It wasn't my calling. But like, there's a point where you got to make a decision to do what God has put on your heart to do. So what does that mean? If I keep having a desire to do something, I have the gifts, the talent, the skill, or enough of the skill. Because some of us don't have skill, but we got talent. And or we don't have talent, we got a gift. I don't know if there's a difference between talent and a gift, but if you have a gift and a story, that's all you need. Because a gift and a story means you know God is faithful, and you know you have something he put in your hand. And so when you look at the story of Moses literally just had a word. Moses just had a word. He didn't have all the answers. He didn't know how it would turn out. He just knew what God said for him to do. To my knowledge of scripture, he just did it. He decided to do it. He questioned God because he had a weakness. But see, the reason why I believe God calls people with a weakness is so that they can depend on him. And it's because he wants us to understand that we need the true and living God. Like, we need God. Y'all say, I need the universe, or I need Allah, I need Yahweh, whatever you call him, you need him. You need them. My Muslim sisters, you need them. My Christian sisters, you need them. My Jehovah's Witnesses and Catholics, y'all believe in Jesus, or but we have different views. You need them. My Buddhists. I know there's Buddhists who believe in Christ, that don't believe in Christ. Those that believe in God, those who believe in the universe and science, whatever. You need the higher power, the higher being. You need him. And I'm one of those people that believe God is faithful. He blessed. My mama told me that God blesses faith. So I don't think you have to be a Christian to be successful. We know that. There's a lot of successful people who did it the right way. He became successful. And I believe it's because God saw that he can trust them with things. He could trust them with his kingdom money. He could trust, when I say kingdom money, I mean like the money that we have in this world. God allows us to have that money. So that's why I call it kingdom money. And so if God is providing these things for people that don't even know him, people that don't have no belief in nothing, they don't believe there's a higher power, they don't believe there's a God, they don't believe in the universe, they just believe in you do and you become successful, and they're being successful. Who are we to not go do what we have been called to do? Who are we to say no to God? Like, who are you to say, God, you don't know better? Like, really? No. So I made up my mind. I'm going to do what I believe God is telling me to do. I believe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I believe that I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm a designer. I design apparel. And I don't have any links to link in here yet or nothing. But I literally want you to stop waiting until it feels right and just, I don't care if you feel like you're going to throw up every day. I don't care if you feel like you're going to pass out. I don't care if your anxiety and your panic attacks are so freaking bad that you have to take medication. Take the medication. I'm a firm believer in it. A lot of Christians, I'm not going to say a lot of Christians, times have changed, but there are Christians that feel like they can't take medication. The Bible said that Jesus healed mental illness. And so people say, well, if he can heal it, then you don't need medicine. Well, he can heal a person with cancer, but you see people going to get chemo. So you mean to tell me people that has cancer shouldn't take chemo because they're Christian? If you need the medicine, take it. If nothing else is working, if you praying, God is not going to do. God has decided. God is sovereign. He said, I'm not going to heal you that way. I don't know why he does it that way. But he said, I'm not going to heal you that way. Probably because we need to understand we need God, but we also need people. And I think a lot of times God, this is one thing I want y'all to understand. God works through people. That's another really good point. Stop feeling like you're all in all by yourself. You don't have nobody who have your back. Nobody ever had my back. If you're a man, nobody ever had my back. It's me against the world. Like that kind of mentality. Or women, ain't no good men out here. Everybody horrible. My mama was horrible. My daddy was horrible. They horrible. My old friends horrible. I don't need nobody. I got me. I'm good. I'm solo dolo. Okay, well, you're going to be solo broco, because I don't care who you are. All these people that are successful, even Steve Jobs, he had a team. Like, he's smart. But who cares if you're smart if you're doing everything by yourself? Like, you have to actually take a step to try and work with people or try to trust somebody enough. You don't have to trust them everything. There's levels to this. But you got to trust somebody enough that maybe they have a connect. Maybe you might meet somebody that's a friend, that becomes a friend, and then there's some things you be trying to figure out. And y'all just happen to start talking about it, and they're like, yeah, I know such and such. He got to connect to this. Like, there you go, boom, a whole connection. Then you meet this other person, and then this person introduces you to somebody else, and that person introduces. Next thing you know, you got a whole posse. Or maybe you don't have a posse, you just got a bunch of connections. You might not even hang out, y'all might not eat brunch, y'all might not be friends, but you got all these connections that God has brought to you because you said, God, I want to do something with my life. I want to do these things. I want to use these gifts that you have given me, these things I love to do, and I want to make money from it. And so God is bringing these connections, but you're shutting it down because you think everybody, the whole world's against you. And I want to tell you right now, I thought this was my mentality. Everybody, like, I'm such a nice person and people are mean, and people, you can't trust people. And here's the thing. So you mean I had to realize, you mean to tell me I'm the only one in the world that's good and everybody else is bad? Do you know how arrogant you sound? Do you know how arrogant it is to say you're great, you're so great, you're so wonderful, and then everybody else is just mean, terrible, and horrible people? Like, because they made mistakes, because they were human, you still judging somebody based on what they did 3 years ago. And so you won't talk to your sister, your cousin, your mom, your old friend, your old classmate because of something that, there's some stuff that there's some real serious situations. I'm not doubting it at all. But there's a difference between your daddy leaving you and just getting into a small spat with somebody that you're going to get into a small spat with you. Because when you're around people for a long time, at some point you're going to disagree. But that doesn't mean you have to cut everybody off as soon as you don't like what they have to say. You'll never have anybody like that. And the problem with that is God made us for people. And my mama told me most of the time when God is speaking, I'm like, God not speaking to me. That's because most of the time God speaks through people. Look at the word of God. God spoke to people. That's why a lot of people don't believe in the Bible, because they don't trust people. And because God worked the people, they can't believe in a God that will use an imperfect person to tell them something that God said. But God actually literally would not tell that person that thing without telling to that person, because he needs them to understand, I made y'all for each other. I made you a divine, and I don't even know if divine is the word, but God is divine. We came from him, so I guess in a way that makes us divine. I have the ability to get a revelation and come to you and say something that I wouldn't have known, that only God could have told me. And so these are the kind of experiences that some of y'all are having. But because you so busy looking at logic and what you're used to and what you think you know, you're assuming it's a coincidence. You're assuming that, they just so happen to say it, but that don't mean nothing. But how can you know unless you try? So here's the thing. I want y'all watching this, whoever watches, maybe 5 people, maybe 1, I don't even care. Whoever watches, I want y'all that watch this to make a decision. Make a decision. Pray if you got to, for a few minutes, not for an hour. Okay? Because God is God. Your long prayers don't make him more holy. It don't. And you're not more holy because you pray longer, in reality. Because you were holy the moment that you became his child. I want you to pray a simple prayer. This is the prayer I want you to pray. God, change my way of thinking according to your will. Change my way of thinking. I remember I was so upset because I couldn't just stop being afraid. I just didn't want to be afraid no more. And I said, God, change. My mama said, ask God to change your way of thinking. I said, okay. And one day, I remember those words my mama said to me, and I said, God, I just started praying that one day, God, please change my way of thinking. When I saw myself going backwards, having anxiety about things that I can't control, worrying about things, God, change my way of thinking. You walking, you stepping out on faith, you taking step number 1. And here come fear. Somebody saying, girl, I did that. It failed. Okay, well, it failed for you. Maybe it's not your calling. Maybe you failed because you're not good at it. Maybe you can't crack a note, okay? But I'm a singer. I can sing. You see, I got to give, but because you try to do it and you can't sing, I'm supposed to not sing. You see how crazy people is? Maybe they tried to sing. Maybe it didn't work out for them. Maybe God couldn't trust them. Maybe they had the wrong motives. Or maybe it wasn't their time yet. I don't know why certain people fail at certain things and why it takes them so long. I personally believe that if you're doing what God told you to do and you're content, it don't matter. It don't matter. Because I'd rather fail doing what I love and enjoying it with people around me that actually have my back than go be successful at something that is not what God has told me to do. And have all these people around me. And when I die and go to heaven, God says to me, why didn't you do what I put it on your heart to do? You have a beautiful voice. Why didn't you sing? Ever. I would hate for God to say, I want you have a gift to teach. And I gave you an idea to go teach women how to take care of themselves. Just an example, right? They have these women doing the feminine journey things, and this, I'm really passionate about that too. But I'm sitting here like I can't do that. What do I have to offer? It's all these women are already talking about it. But God is like, I can imagine God looking at me like, who are you? Who are you to tell me what you can and can't do? Because who are you? You don't know everything. You don't know the future. You don't know what tomorrow brings. I know. And the person that can see tomorrow told you to do it. So that means I need you to trust that no matter what happened, I got your back. I'm taking care of you. I have vessels that will come along. A vessel is somebody that God will put in place to take care of you in a time of need when you're on the journey, on that journey that you're going on. And God says, I have vessels for you. And so instead of trusting me and knowing that I have vessels for you, I have put people in place. I have a chair for you at the table that I'm going to, maybe there's a table that you can't sit at. Maybe God don't want you at the table. God's saying, trust me, I don't want you at the table. I want you somewhere else, but I'm not going to show you yet, because if I show you, then you're going to lollygag and take your time, or you're not going to do it because you're going to say, oh, I can't do that because that's too big for me. That's too big. God was showing me these big dreams and visions. I had so much anxiety. God was showing me so much that I started being like, I wanted to cry. I cried. In fact, I think I cried often, actually, when God showed me what he wanted me to do, because I was like, God, I can't do that. I can't do all these things. How am I do all these things? He's giving me multiple gifts. He's giving me multiple ideas. I've always been multifaceted when it came to creativity. I can draw and I can design. I can do digital art, and I can write music, and I can do poetry. People have told me I'm really good at poetry. I have all these gifts, and there's different facets and ways that God wants to use them. I'm not saying that you have to use all of them for a career, but God will do this. He will put the pieces together like a puzzle. He'll give you one hint, people telling you how good you are at something. They're pointing out and saying, you're really good at that. You're willing to do that. You need to pay attention to that. People are telling you how good you are at something, but you still don't want to do it because you think it's too big, or you think you're not good enough, or you think you're not worthy because of what happened to you, or because of who told you weren't worthy, or who treated you like you weren't worthy, who didn't treat you like you were worthy. Because some of y'all are not mad about what happened to y'all. Some of y'all are mad about what didn't happen or what wasn't said. You weren't told, I love you. You weren't told you're good enough. You weren't told God has a plan for you to prosper you and harm you, to give you a future and hope. You weren't told that you're smart. You weren't told that you're beautiful. Well, I'm telling you. If nobody ever tells you, I'm telling you. Smart, you're capable, you're beautiful, you're talented, you're important. What did she say in the movie? You are smart, you are important, you're kind, you're special. You're everything you need to be. Because God's going to, like Moses, all he said, look what's in your hand. He had a stick in his hand, right? That he would have with him all the time. And I can imagine him having that same stick from the moment he got there to the moment he went to Pharaoh, to the moment he got back. I don't know when he got it. I don't know. I have no idea. But I know what you got in your hand is all you need. What you got in your hand is all you need. God and what you have in your hand and you. And the people that God's going to bring to you. That's all you need. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need accolades. You don't need a degree. If a degree is not necessary, now of course you're going to be a doctor, yeah, because you need a degree. But if it's not a requirement to have a degree, you don't need a degree. I got a degree. I'm in debt. You might be a fashion designer. You might be what's that girl on Project One Way? Some people feel some type of way with Project One Way. I don't care. I see people that are successful that were on there. So say what you want to say. These are talented designers, so please stop hating. And you have your right to your opinion. She's self-taught because she had only enough and only so much and didn't have the resources to go to school. I didn't have the resources either. I just got into debt. And I still feel like there's a lot of things that I still don't know. Because I promise you, one of the things that your teachers probably told you was, learning doesn't stop at school. You keep learning. And so now we have all these courses and these different things that you can do now. There's literally people, this girl, she has a business called Start Your Fashion Business. I don't know if you've heard of it. But she was featured in Forbes magazine. She figured it out because she had the courage to go afraid. And because she figured it out, now she's going back and getting other people. Just like Moses, right? He went back and got other people. So you're complaining about what God isn't doing for your family, but he gave you the vision. He gave you the vision, but you won't do it. You don't see anybody else doing it. And they might have visions too. But you got to do it. And so some of y'all have a dream and you're holding on to that. And you're not acting on it. It's time to go afraid. It's time to go afraid. So if y'all take anything from this, stop waiting for a perfect time. Go make a plan If it's not perfect, God will reroute you on your path, but it will still get you to the same point. You might veer off, but God will reroute you like Google Maps, and you will still get to the place where you're supposed to go, even if you don't know what that place is yet. Just start. Okay? Just start. Go afraid, and I promise you, you won't regret it. You won't regret it. You may fail a couple times, but there's something about failing so many times and then finally making it. Finally making it. That you'll have such a testimony. Like, what's his name? Tyler Perry was homeless and he kept constantly failing. And one day, out of nowhere, God just showed him, I know when you're ready. He said, sometimes God is hiding you. If God is hiding you, it's for a reason. He's protecting you. But while he's hiding you, what are you doing? Are you getting ready? Are you preparing yourself? But that's not what I want y'all to focus on. Most of the people that I believe, the most people that are going to watch this are going to be people that you've been getting ready for the longest. It's time out for that.